This morning on Houston Newsmakers, as the holidays kick off, reminders of what you can do to help others while you help yourselves. The Houston Food Bank is one of the best in the United States. The Houston generosity is one of the reasons why. How much needs to be done this holiday season to make an impact on the lives of those in need? Food Bank President and CEO Brian Green is here. How do you like your coffee? Are you a Starbucks fan or a neighborhood corner store type? You'll meet an owner of a unique shop in the Heights that operates as a nonprofit focused on fighting human trafficking. And the good thing about this time of the year is that it's the holidays. The bad thing about this time of the year is that it's the holidays. How to deal with the holiday stress on your relationships.
From KPRC Channel 2, this is Houston Newsmakers with Cambrell Marshall.
And good morning. Welcome to Houston Newsmakers. Just hoping you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and are looking forward to the rest of the holiday season. Much of the holiday revolves around food. For parties, the family meals, it's a center of attention, but for many families that is not the case. For many of them, the holidays, like many of their times of the year, means not enough food or not enough of the right kinds of food. Brian Green is the president and CEO of the Houston Food Bank and knows all about these problems that these families are facing and what we can do about it. Good morning, Brian. Good to see you.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. I love this place.
Thank you so much for coming in. We'll always get information about you. Let's say that you were going to give a State of the Union kind of speech about the food bank and the state of food nourishment or whatever in Houston area. What would you say about how we're doing in the Houston market?
Ooh, well, you've actually two very different questions. So Houston is reflecting many of the trends in the country that food insecurity is actually only getting worse. And it's a function, as we've found, of low-wage income is really hurting so many families. What people don't realize is that about half the people who go hungry are not below the poverty level. The Census Bureau says that 2/3 of the food insecure households have an adult with a full-time job. And what we're seeing that at the food bank, where more and more of the families, they're working. They're just not making enough money to get by. And so that part getting worse. The food bank, we're in a really generous community. So the food bank has been growing very significantly. We're building more partnerships all the time. We have over 500 charity partners that we distribute through. Plus, our backpack program for the kids who the teachers don't believe are eating on the weekends. That's grown to be now in 580 schools.
Wow. Okay.
Our kids' cafes, there's 70 of those. We had this last 12 months, we've had 64,000 different people volunteer with the food bank.
Is that a high number for you? I mean, an all-time high, or is that pretty close?
Oh, my God. Well, yeah, it's like, it's the largest volunteer corps, I believe, in the state. It's amazing. So it was about maybe 8 years ago. We had about 7,000 volunteers a year, and we said we kind of established as a goal to motivate people. We were going to have more volunteers than the rodeo. And only in Houston would actually that sound like something. Anywhere else, what does that mean? But everybody knows what that means in Houston. And we were going to just try and make this really appealing for volunteers, where we would use their time extremely well, but also they would have a good time doing it. And that's really built up well.
You said something about food insecurity. What is that for those people who may not understand what food insecurity means?
So it's actually, the common thought that people generally have is hunger, which is that's when you actually have the painful or uneasy sensation because you are not eating enough or you're having to skip meals, etc. Food insecurity is a little bit different because you don't have sufficient access to nutritious food for a healthy life. And it's a very important distinction because people will very often not actually go hungry by making serious nutritional compromises. Ramen noodle it up. Hey, you didn't go hungry.
Right.
But that is really unhealthy if you don't stop that behavior.
Got it.
And we see that phenomenon a lot with the people we serve.
What is used to determine who gets food? As a food bank is involved, do you give food to the pantries who then give food to the people in the communities? How does the food bank actually work in terms of disseminating the food that people need?
Very good. So the food bank was actually set up, like food banks around the country, to be an intermediary. The United States has tremendous amounts of waste. Everywhere at the farm level, there's literally billions of pounds of produce that is grown every year that not even harvested, billions more that's harvested and not sold. At the grocery store, there's waste all through the chain. And so we were set up to capture as much of that waste as we can and channel it to the charities actually working directly with the families. So we supply the church pantry where the family goes. Now, we supply them all, So you can just call our number, 713-223-3700. You can call our number and then tell us where you live, and then we'll refer you to the pantry in that neighborhood.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And so that, that's how we work. So what we really are, when you look at it, is a really large logistics operation.
So would you prefer, since you already get a lot of food from these other places where farmers and all this excess, would you prefer that people bring food to you, canned goods, that sort of thing, or would you just prefer to have the cash and do what you can with it?
I prefer that people do what they're motivated to do.
Oh, okay.
And I've kind of learned, you don't push a rope, right? And so the number one thing, if you want to think about impact, actually the number one thing you can do is volunteer.
Okay.
So we receive all of these different types of donations, a whole lot of what we can get from the food industry. They say, look, we'll let you have it, but it's not ready to distribute. We might have to repackage it, we might have to do sorting, we might have to do inspections of it, and so there's a lot of volunteer work that goes into that. And the average output per volunteer hour per person is about $75 worth of food they enable us to do that otherwise we would not be able to do. It is net gain pure on those hours. So $75. So you could think of it this way. If you make more than $75 an hour, yeah, work an extra hour, give us the money. If you don't make more than $75, you know what, your time's actually worth more. So that's really the number one thing. The number two thing is actually, yeah, it is the cash, because we don't go and buy food. So like going back to the farm, what we do now is we go to the farms and the packing houses and we say, look, will you give us those cabbages or those onions or those carrots? And they say, yeah, we'll give them to you, but we're not going to lose money to pick and bag it for you. So we said, fine, we'll just pay your cost to pick and bag it, and then we transport it in. And we can get that in at about 15 cents a pound doing that. And we can do as much as we can get the money to do.
We're talking before we started taping here that you said the need in the Houston area, you'll never be able to catch up with that in terms of the need of this community, but you're still making a big dent in it.
Well, I would see it more like this. Just trying to pass out food will never stop hunger by doing that.
Right.
Now, we absolutely alleviate hunger for about 800,000 people a year. So, it is huge, but it's economics bigger than us, which is why we're trying to do more partnerships that are really oriented towards how does the food perhaps act kind of like a scholarship. So someone is in a job training program or a certificate program at one of the community colleges, or it can be health, that actually will help them get through that so that they're far less likely to ever need us again.
Well,
so that, we think, is probably how we're best going to actually think about ending hunger. It's going to have to be families not needing us.
Well, we want to make sure that people know how to get to you. You like the volunteers, you like the cash, either way, but we want people to know that. Best number is 713-223-3700. And if you want to go, that number, they'll be directing you to any of the other places you need to want to go, like volunteering, donate money, donate food, etc. I encourage you to go to the website as well, HoustonFoodBank.org. It's a great organization, best in the country.
That's what they say.
Led by this guy. Brian, good to see you as always.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Great organization. Thank you for coming in. We got more to do. We got the Super Bowl of Caring coming up as well. You'll come back for that?
Oh, yeah. Happy to.
That's after the first of the year. Thank you so much. Coming up, coffee shops, if you like them. Well, we got one where you can get your cup of joe while fighting human trafficking at the same time. It's called A Second Cup. How it started, the hopes for the future, and how you can help. Next, when Houston Newsmakers continues. Ah, that cup of coffee. It's a passion for millions of Americans. In fact, depending on whose statistics you believe, it could be as many as 100 million Americans who drink at least one cup of coffee every day. That means a lot of coffee shops from which to choose all over Houston, but not many are like the one we'll talk about this morning. It's called The Second Cup. Erica Raggett is responsible for A Second Cup. Amazing story herself, I believe. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Before we get to your story, tell me, what does A Second Cup stand for? What does it mean?
Well, A Second Cup is a nonprofit coffee shop working to fight human trafficking, and we do that by raising awareness and enabling people to get involved with the fight against human trafficking, but also raising funds to help support survivors, to give them a second chance at life. And so the name kind of plays off a second chance at life.
Now, but and most people, when they set up a coffee shop or a restaurant, and you do food as well, do you not?
Yes,
And they don't do that to give money away. It's kind of like a for-profit. You want to get rich and have a big house and all that kind of stuff. You're doing it a different way. How did this come about that it became the focus to go ahead and fight human trafficking?
Right. Well, I've always really loved coffee shops and wanted to start one, but it didn't necessarily mesh with my passion to do good in the world. And so when I heard about human trafficking, I was appalled and outraged and horrified, and really felt like I wanted to do something about it. And so then one day the idea of merging my passion to fight human trafficking with my passion for coffee shops kind of came together to create a second cup.
And you didn't, when you came to Houston, it wasn't to start a coffee shop.
No, I actually moved to Houston with Teach for America, and so I taught at a middle school here in Houston for 2 years.
Okay. And during that period of time, is that when you learned about the human trafficking issues here, or how did that come about?
It's not. I actually taught in HISD for 2 years. Then I moved to Philadelphia and worked with Teach for America there. And then I moved back to Houston and worked with Yes College Prep. And that's like a couple years later is when I learned about human trafficking.
Okay. And how difficult or easy was it to get this process going? I know now you have a brick and mortar place where you have your own place, but before you were in a church or someplace like that?
Right. It's actually been quite a long process. When I first started, I had no idea apparently, and I assumed it would take a few months.
But isn't that good that you didn't know?
Yes, it's great, because if I had known, it may not have happened. So, yeah, we started off doing some events here and there around the city, and then a church, the Vineyard Church of Houston, donated some space to let us share, and so we were open 1 day a week for about 2 years, and just to get our feet wet in the coffee industry and kind of learn what we were doing. And we got really great reception, and during that 2-year period, we were looking for a brick and mortar space and also raising the funds to be able to open it. And now here we are 4 years later with our brick and mortar shop.
And that just was within September, right?
We actually opened October 17th.
My goodness, so it took that long.
Yes.
Well, it is a good thing that you didn't know how long it was going to take.
Yeah, it's very good.
Now, what are your goals ultimately? Have you set a monetary goal that you want to try to make, or you just kind of take it from here and go and see what happens?
We're more take it from here and see what happens. This is actually my first venture into the restaurant industry, so we're kind of just hoping for good numbers. We know that the restaurant industry takes a while to get going and really raise funds, and so we don't have a specific number in mind yet, but our goal is to be able to raise enough to offer resources for survivors in our shop, so kind of like the second tier kind of resources, like GED classes and IT workshops and like financial trainings and things like that, but then to also have money to give to other nonprofit organizations who are providing things like housing and child care and health care and things like that for survivors.
You know, when you talked about that, where you can provide help in GED class, that old teacher in you wants to keep coming out, doesn't it?
That's right, that's right. Once a teacher, always a teacher, I think. So.
And so this is a part of it. How much, when someone comes to your shop, how much are they getting education or information about what goes on?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have some general information in the shop, some basic statistics about human trafficking, what it looks like in the world, but also what it looks like here in Houston. But we wanted to ensure that it wasn't information that left people leaving the shop depressed and, oh, this is horrible.
I'll never come back for a cup of coffee.
Right. Well, this was the worst coffee I've ever had. We want them to feel empowered, and so we have information that makes them feel empowered. So they can see the general statistics, but then they can also see information about ways that they can get involved. So we keep just information about other organizations that are fighting human trafficking, like their mission statement, what they do, how people can get involved, along with a calendar of anti-trafficking events throughout the city, so people can find out about the information, become outraged, figure out what they can do, and then leave our shop ready to actually do something. Well,
you're in a great place to do it. The Heights, a lot of folk there are similarly inclined to go ahead and take up challenges like this. Your location is where?
1111 East 11th Street.
And how did you get that address? That's an
It's pretty much the best address you could ever ask for.
No, 1111 East 11th Street. Well, let's put that information up on the screen. It's in the Heights. Phone number 832-962-7656, 1111 11th Street. That's pretty good. Remember, proceeds are going to fight human trafficking, and I got to believe it'd be a good place to just come and enjoy a cup of coffee and food as well.
It's a great space. We have great coffee. All of our baked products are made with fair trade chocolate and fair trade sugar. So, and we have an amazing menu. So it's a great place to come for.
Well, we're glad that you came here. You're like so many of the rest of us who came to Houston. Don't know when you got here, but got here as quick as you could.
and couldn't leave, apparently.
Couldn't leave. Erica, thank you so much. Congratulations. Good luck on what's going on with the rest of this journey. I'm going to come by and have some coffee over there. Absolutely. Well, just ahead, we got the holidays. They bring about a lot of stress. You probably knew that. Whether it's travel or family dinners, the stress levels can go way up. We'll have some advice on how to cope. That's next when Houston Newsmakers continues. It is with sadness that I tell you about the death of a recent Houston Newsmakers guest. Lillian Villarreal was here in September to talk about her 6-year fight against cancer and the challenge of continuing her fight. But more importantly, talking about it so that others would know the value of supporting the valuable research that goes on right here in our own community. She was here on behalf of the Cancer Action Network, along with Congressman Gene Green, who was talking about a bill that he was sponsoring to increase funding for cancer research. I was impressed by her tenacity as she fought the disease that would take her life and as she kept focused on making sure that you knew the value of research.
What do you do to kind of keep yourself and them motivated to keep fighting?
That there is hope, and through these research advancements are being made, and so there is hope for them to find a medication, a treatment that will, help them either prolong or cure them of the disease, hopefully, and that is obviously our ultimate goal is for the cure. But as the congressman said, research is so important, and the 1 Degree Project campaign helps everyone get involved. I mean, everybody is touched by this.
And we were talking before the show, and your husband knows all the dates of everything that you've gone through.
He
so
does.
that lets you know how everybody surrounding you really supports your effort to get well.
Yes, it's people who've gone through this know that it's a family effort, and not just family, friends, and extended family members. It's people come to your aid. Thank God.
And thank God for Lillian and her courage. Please consider donating to the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. That's acscan.org/Lillian. It will be very much appreciated. Thank you to my guests for joining me this morning and to all of you for tuning in. We'll see you back here again next week.